Recording in progress.
Okay, so let's start with the virtual private cloud or the VPC. So we will discuss that how VPC will work and what's the component design and planning of the VPC, create a VPC and vSwitch, access control in the VPC group, VPC connectivity, advanced VPC features and the VPC hands-on lab. So let's start with the definitions. What is a VPC? VPC is actually the virtual private cloud, or you can say is a virtual network which help you to provision your infrastructure on the Alibaba cloud. It's isolate with the network, and it's allow you to specify your own private IP address range, CIDR block, and your own security rules, which includes the network ACL and the security groups. It includes the network ACLs, vSwitches, vRouters, subnets. So these components jointly connected each other in order to provision a virtual private cloud. So VPC includes the vRouters called the virtual routers, route tables, vSwitches, elastic public IP, and the security groups. So VPC creates a layer 2 isolated network environment at a region level, and it's allowing you to build a private network environments on the public cloud. This is actually not connected with each other. Like if we have two VPCs, so the two VPCs are not joined with each other. So if you see in the diagram, VPC create a layer 2 isolated network environment at a region level, and it's allowing you to build a private network environment on a public cloud. First, we need to select the region from here, and once you select the region, you can provision your own virtual private cloud, and then after that you can create a virtual machines. VPC use a virtual extended LAN called the VXLAN, and it's a tunneling protocols, right? And but by the way, these all work underlying the hardware, the API layer. You cannot see these type of traffic and how is communicating with each other. You cannot see. This is behind the Alibaba Cloud Console. So VXLAN actually enable cloud customer to create a virtualized layer 2 subnets or segments, then span physical layer 3 network. So once you create a vSwitches, virtual switches, and communicate with each other, what they normally use, they actually communicated and connected with the different switches. So like in our cases, we have the VM1, VM2, VM3 and VM4 options. So these, if the VM1 is in vSwitch and VM3 in vSwitch 2, so VM1 and VM3 communicate with each other, while the VM2 and VM4 will communicate with each other. Until the router is here, they cannot communicate. So that's how VPC work behind the API layer. Now let's plan and design a VPC. Select the CIDR called the classless inter-domain routing CIDR IP address public suitable for your VPC network from a private network blocks defined in RFC 1918. Is 10.0.0.0/8 is a 24-bit, 172.16.0.0.12 is 20-bit, and 192.168.0.0/16 16 bits. So 16, 20 and 24 bits, these are the bits which actually help to define or divide your CIDR block into multiple subnets. Any question, team? Okay, not now. Now let's move forward. What is vRouter? So vRouter is actually like a hub in the VPC that communicates and connects all subnet in a VPC. Unlike switch is basically a subnet which allow you to communicate multiple virtual machines connected on the same vSwitches without a help of vRouter. But if we talk about the vRouter is actually help you to communicate between the switches or among the switches with each other. So let's say you have a network called 10.1.00/16 and you have a vSwitch 10.2.00/16, but both are on a same VPC. What do you think? The machine exists in 10.1.00 will communicate with 10.00 without a router? Yes or no? Can anyone tell me? Will the machine from both subnets can communicate each other without a router? No. Why? Because if you see 10.1.00 and the 10.2.00 is a different subnet. So once the subnet is different, they will not be communicate with each other. Okay. Now let's talk about the vSwitch. So the vSwitch is like a layer 2 switch for a subnet within the VPC group. The first and the last three IP address of a vSwitch are reserved by the system. Each VPC can have a maximum of 24 switches. vSwitches cannot span on multiple zones. It cannot be communicated with each other. So if a vSwitch is created in one zone, it cannot be communicated with another zone. Now let's talk about the creating a VPC and a vSwitch. It's a virtual private cloud, zone A and zone B. So we have 4 vSwitches. Each vSwitch considered as a separate subnet, while the another vSwitch considered as a different subnet. So like in the 4 vSwitch, it means we have 4 different subnets available. So this session we will walk through the steps necessary to create a simple VPC using what we have learned so far, right? So first what we need to do is we need to select the Alibaba Cloud region, create a VPC, create a vSwitches in multiple zones. Creating a VPC and vSwitch, we will need to select the region Singapore from the Alibaba Cloud, right? And then we will provision a vSwitch. Click create VPC, configure a VPC name and select the CIDR block easily. Okay, guys, good news for you. all of you guys, that I just discussed with the Alibaba Cloud team, and they will give you the free ACA exam voucher to all the students who will be attend this course, who will be available in this course. So what you need to do, guys, you need to be stay at the end of this course, must have good reviews, must have complete all the sessions which exist in this course, right? And the last thing is that you need to complete the survey form. I will share the two survey form with you guys. You need to complete the survey form in details, okay? Otherwise you will miss the ACA exam voucher, and your email address should be corrected, because the free exam voucher will be available after this session, okay? Okay, so because you have only 8 to 10 students, I think this is a good time that you can easily complete and pass the exam, because after this session I will guide you. At the end of this session I will guide you how to pass the ACA exam once you submit the survey form and all of the. Okay, so let's move forward. So create VPC, configure the VPC name and select CIDR. These are the steps that you are thinking that this is a theoretical part. No, this is the 100% hands-on lab, and I will show you how to create a VPC inshallah after this session, like the VPC part. So we have to click on the create VPC button, select the name and the CIDR block set. Scroll down, configure the vSwitches like name, zone, destination, CIDR block and the CIDR mask, and then we can easily work on that. Okay, so click add, like create vSwitches from the vSwitch console, name, zone, destination, CIDR block and the CIDR mask. So these are the services like ECS, RDS and SLB which we need to set up the IPv4 CIDR. Click OK and ensure the status is success. Like the success means the details are completed. Click complete and the newly created VPC instance will be listed. Now after configuring all the steps, our VPC is ready to use. Now the access control in a VPC group. If we talk about the VPC group, so VPC doesn't come with an independent access control policy. Access control in the VPC relies on the access control capabilities on each cloud product. For example, ECS instance use security group, server load balancer use whitelist, and the relational database or the RDS use whitelist as well. Now let's talk about the using cloud product in a VPC. When creating a resource such as ECS instance, you will have to select the VPC group and vSwitches to associate with new resources with. In this case, we have the ECS. So the services which you need a VPC is the ECS, RDS, SLB. Not in the zone A, but the zone B as well. Now let's talk about the VPC connectivity. So to connect the VPC with the correct links, we have multiple options. One is the SLB, Elastic IP, NAT Gateway, Express Connect, VPN, CEN, and the Security Access Group. So Alibaba Cloud provides many solutions to connect a VPC to the internet or other local data centers. So let's discuss the services one by one. SLB is the server load balancer, and the server load balancer allow you to connect the machines behind the firewalls. Elastic IP is the physical dedicated IP which is connected with your machine, and neither you stop or restart your machine, this IP will never change. This is a fixed or permanent IP. NAT gateway is allow you to send traffic from those machines who are behind the firewall. Express Connect is the physical fiber line which help you to connect your VPC to the on-premises data center with the help of ISP. So it will terminate the layer and the pigtail fiber on the ISP end, and the ISP will create a layer 3 circuit in order to communicate both your on-premises data center on the Alibaba Cloud Express Connect using this pigtails. VPN or the virtual private cloud. So the virtual private cloud allow you to create a virtual circuit, virtual connections over the internet between your Alibaba Cloud account and your physical data center. CEN Cloud Enterprise Network allow you to communicate among network services like VPC, VPN, Express Connect to communicate with each other. Unlike a mesh topology where you need to establish a connection with one another. So the CEN will save your time, cost and efforts as well. Server Access Gateway called the SAG allow you to create a virtual server or create a demilitarized zone DMZ using the SAG, Server Access Group. Now if these components are further divided, okay, let me repeat the CEN. CEN is actually the Cloud Enterprise Network. CEN is actually help you to communicate the Express Connect, VPN, NAT gateway with each other. Right, let me explain in another language. Right, by the way, how many of you guys, let me understand first, how many of you 11 participants understand Urdu language? First tell me, how many of you guys understand Urdu language? I think most of them. Okay, so how many of you guys understand proper English language? Like my accent is clear to understand or not? I am trying to reduce my speed while I am translating from English to Urdu as well. Okay, so let me explain something in Urdu language as well, because sometime it's a little hard to understand in English language, like in the CEN part. So CEN को अगर आप सिंपल वर्ड में समझें तो CEN आपको बेसिकली अलाउ करता है कि आप अपना VPN, एक्सप्रेस कनेक्ट और अपने VPC को एक साथ जोड़कर एक दूसरे के साथ कम्युनिकेट करा सकते हैं इस राउटर के अंदर. अदरवाइज़ आपको अलग अलग कनेक्शन बनाने पड़ेंगे, VPN से एक्सप्रेस, एक्सप्रेस से नेट, लाइक एक्सप्रेस से आपका VPC अलग अलग बनाने पड़ेंगे. सो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा ये. सो इट्स क्लियर OS. Anyone have any other question? Okay, I think that's fine, that's good. Now the another option is, among these services, how many services are exist on the internet? Like we have SLB, we have Elastic IP, we have NAT gateway. So how many of these services are exist on the connectivity help? CEN stand for Cloud Enterprise Network. CEN, Cloud Enterprise Network. Okay, in the AWS we call the Transit Gateway. अगर आपने Transit Gateway यूज किया तो CEN आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. So when the cloud products in a VPC need to communicate with the internet, you can use the network address translation called the NAT gateway, Elastic IP and SLB to establish an internet connection. It's SLB, Elastic IP, NAT gateway, Express Connect VPN, CEN, and SAG. So VPN connection to other VPCs or off cloud system. When the cloud products in a VPC needs to establish connection with another VPC or off cloud IDC called the independent data centers, these services are help you to communicate with each other. Communicate with each other easily. Now let's talk about the advanced VPC features. Acha, what we will do guys, if we completed this on time, because this session is available till 2:30 p.m. we have a lot of time. So अगर ये complete हो गया all of the thing, I will try to get some services from the advanced course as well, right? So do remind me once we complete this all labs and theory. So if we have some time, I will show you some advanced topic or the ACP professional exam, which will help you to pass. By the way, I am 8x Alibaba Cloud certified. So I have already passed all these associate and professional exams. So let's talk about the advanced VPG features overview. So Alibaba Cloud VPC supports several features for advanced users. Network ACLs, custom route tables, DSCP option sets. Note that these first three features with only if your VPC group doesn't contain ECS instance of the following type, so that these option will work, otherwise it will not work. So what's the limitations you can say? So the network ACL, what's the difference between network ACL and security group? Network ACL basically allow you to block or allow the whole subnet coming in and out, like egress and ingress rules, to protect the whole subnet, like all 256 IP if we talk about the /24 network. But on the other hand, if we use the security group basically allow the ports coming outside from the internet to access your server. So the security group just allow the services. Why? Because it's implicit deny. It means it's by default is all deny. You cannot even access your servers until you open a port on a security group with the allow option. So what's the limitations inside the VPC part is the network ACL are stateless. You need to make sure that your inbound rules have matching outbound rules. If you create an ACL that contain no rules, all traffic is denied by default. Network ACL are associated with a vSwitch and will apply only to traffic to from ACS instance attached to the different vSwitches. This is how the network ACL works. So let me repeat the network ACL and the security group, which will help you to understand the logics behind that. Network ACL allow or deny your traffic on the basis of the rules. If the rules are good and on top priority, you can stop incoming traffic from any websites or from anywhere in the world. Like you can mention or you can stop all of them. In the security group, you just need to allow, you don't need to deny. Now creating new ACL rules, you can see you need to allow or deny. Protocols is ICMP, GRE tunnels, TCP, UDP. You need to set up the source CIDR block, destination CIDR block, source port range and the destination port range. The use cases for the network ACL is the limited internet access for a particular ECS instance or switches, limit connectivity between ECS instances, belong to the same security group. Limit traffic between multiple vSwitches for instances like deployment vSwitch, test vSwitch, production vSwitch. So why not just use security group? That's the really important question, that we have a security group, why not using that? Why you are why we always focus on network ACL? So remember, these two services, security groups and the network ACL, are both complementary services. They work together to provide a rich set of traffic control functionality within the VPC group. If we talk about the network ACL, it's applied to vSwitches, security group applied to ECS instances. Stateless network ACL are stateless, while the securities group are stateful. So you must set explicit rules for both inbound and outbound traffic. In the statefuls, rules apply by default to both inbound and outbound traffic in the security group. While the network ACL, we need to set up the explicit rule. The system attempt to match requests with the rules of descending order to priority, and the system matches a request against all rules before the rules is applied. Each vSwitches can be associated with one network ACL, which may contains multiple rules, while the security group, we can add more than one security groups, and this security group can be attached with multiple instances on the same time. Custom route table. So what's the difference before default route table and a custom route table? If we talk about the custom route tables, we have the vSwitches, we have the route tables, and we have the networks available. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, so as you can see, the route traffic to the CEN instance is a primary ENI, route traffic to the ECS instance secondary ENI. So we have the custom route tables, we have two ECS1 and ECS2 connected with the same vSwitch, but ECS1 need to go outside. First it will go to the router, and router will decide what is the best way to go outside. So the best way to go outside is the internet. It will connect it directly to the internet. Now explain this one. Route traffic between two VPCs over the VPN connections. The destination CIDR block is the 10.0.0.0/8. The VPN gateway 1, and the VPC2 custom route entry is the destination CIDR block. Next hop type is the VPN gateway, and the next hop is the VPN gateway 2. If you see the benefits of the custom route tables is actually the IPsec VPN. So in order to go from one VPC to another VPC, if the custom route table will not be available, you will not be add route to go to the VPC2 connected virtually. So that's the beauty of the custom route table, that we need to add multiple more connections and the subnets in order to communicate with each other. Let's talk about the DSCP option set. So the DSCP option set is allow you to set a custom domain name of your ECS instance and the configure custom DNS server settings, which allow you to use the default DSCP option instead of using your DSCP option. Now finally we have the VPC hands-on lab. let me show some labs and try to get some hands-on lab on my personal account. So that will give you the good option. So are you all ready to see the live labs? Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so this is my account and I need to go to the console, Alibaba Cloud Console. We have this option as well, but instead of using that, let me show you the real account. Yes, Alibaba Cloud में serverless options available है, but this the part of the DevOps. So we will discuss inshallah the serverless and the Docker Kubernetes and Terraforms inshallah on 30th of April on the same time. So are you all available on 30th? And you will get free training on DevOps as well. Do let me know. Okay, now let me go here. As you can see, we have different options. So let me select the virtual private cloud, and inside we have to select the VPC as well. So we have the VPC. Click on this VPC. As once I click on VPC, the regions are available. As you can see, in the Dubai region available and the Riyadh region available. So let me select the US options, as this is the first option. So I will show you how you can create a complete VPC. Okay, so in the create VPC option, use Silicon Valley. Name is Usman Alibaba free training. The Alibaba recommended CIDR blocks are 10.0.0.8, 172 and 192. So let me use 192, 168 for now. CIDR blocks IPv6 we don't need, so that's why I'm not using it. Now the vSwitches is Usman public v switch zone A 00. Okay, we can create a new switch as well. Click OK, and the VPC is created now. As you can see, I just created a 1V switches. Now created the V switches and VPC are created. Now it's asking for the V switch here, successfully created. VPC ID is created. Now it's asking to create a NAT gateway and other services like ECS Instant RDS. For now we don't need neither NAT gateway or the Alibaba Cloud service. Instead I am interested to create a one more V switches here along with the existing V switch. Create V switch. Silicon Valley, all resource group or the default resource group. Yes, perfect. One VPC can create up to 250 or 300 VMs on each subnet or more than that. VPC is selected. V switches Usman V switch to. Select an organization. B 192.168. Why is saying that the CIDR block overlap? Can anyone tell me why saying the CIDR block overlap? Anyone have any idea? Already exists, that's fine. If I click one, the issue goes away. It's creating now. Now it's created. Okay, so Wes is asking, sir, what will be the flow? First VPN, then vSwitch, then ECS. Could you please elaborate? Yes, why not? First is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. Let me show you the diagram as well. Just 1 minute. First, create a VPC, the whole dotted line. Okay. Second is create a vSwitch, the small dotted line. Under vSwitch, you can create multiple machines. We didn't create any machines, we just created a dotted lines, and then connected with vRouter. vRouter is actually the virtual router, and we have under one vRouter we have different route tables available. Remember, we have the public route tables, we have the private route tables. Clear OS? Now the two V switches are there. So if I go in the VPC part, as you can see, we have, how many VPCs do we have for now? One VPC. Under one VPC, if I go inside, we have the basic of information. The ID number, IPv4 CIDR block is 192.168.0.0. Tags, regions, owners, virtual router ID. So it's a core resource of the VPC is connected with the one route tables, two V switches, and other services as well. So that's how VPC works. First, you need to create a VPC. Second, you need a vSwitch, and third, you need a vRouter. Let me show you the vRouters as well, the route tables. So as you can see, we have one route tables. In the route tables, if I go there and check the associated vSwitches, how many vSwitches are connected with this route tables? As I can see, we have two subnets, two switches connected with the one route tables. That might be an issue, because if you want to add internet gateway, you would like to add only one vSwitch and other communicate internally. So in that case, you need to set up a separate route tables. Right, let me go back, create route table, default route tables, VPC, vSwitch, Usman, public, route table. Associated resources, which type of resources do we have? We have the vSwitch, but not we have a border router. Now as you can see, we have different route table, but the thing is that we need to associate with the associated subnet. It's not showing because it's already connected with somewhere else. Now as you can see, we just get this vSwitch from another vRouters to this vRouters. So is a vRouter the same as a route table? Yes, vRouter is equals to route table, but in the better condition you understand that vRouter is the router, route tables inside the vRouter. Let me show you the diagram. This is the vRouter. Under this vRouter you will have multiple route tables, and each route tables connected with either one switch or multiple switches. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, okay, now it's connected successfully. So this is all the VPC labs. This is completed. Any question related to the VPC theory or lab, please do let me know. Guys, anyone have any questions? Okay, let's move forward towards another lab theory. Let's start with the SLB called the server load balancer. Would you like to take a break or should we move forward? I have a plan to take a 15 minutes break after every 1 hour. It will be very easy for you to relax yourself, and then we can come back and start again. So let's start with the SLB, server load balancer. Okay, Zahid, please let's start break after 15 minutes because I have a plan to take a break after every 1 hour. Okay. Okay, so OS is asking sir direct ECS access create कर सकते हैं like in AWS we can create EC2 for default. Yes, we can. OS there is a default VPC in every region where you can create ECS as per your requirement. Remember, if you are good enough in AWS, you can 100% work on Alibaba. Alibaba is complete replica of AWS, and the AWS is complete replica of the Alibaba. Simple. So are you all able to see my screen?